Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I'm healthy, but yeah.
That's like basically the size of like not even the steak is swear. Like I swear.
It's like new, like renovated? Like, was that a choice?
No.
There it is. Okay. Thought I was losing my mind.
Well, it has some nice stuff in it. It's really nice. No, I was just curious.
I set this whole like scheduled calendar thing beforehand, and then it just stops.
All right, well, it is about 6:35. People will probably trickle in as they do, and that's fine. We try not to be too rigid in how we approach this. We've got a lot of stuff to cover though, so we are going to try to keep moving. But before we get into that, I just first of all want to say welcome to the Harwood Community Association meeting. Many of you are new faces, which is exciting. Many of you are old faces as well. Old in the sense that you've been coming here a long time. Not a reflection on age at all. My name is Isaac Morrison. I'm the president of the Harwood Community Association. We've got a bunch of board members here as well, including Izzy. I want to point out, Izzy is live stream. This is something we've reactivated. We were doing this during COVID and shortly after COVID. We had to drop the process, but we're reactivating it. And so be mindful if you do not want your face to appear on the camera. That's where the camera is. And so you can adjust your seating arrangements accordingly. But I don't want you to have to feel self-conscious at all. Just to get us started, what we've done in the past is we've drawn what we call the community agreements, which are five sort of statements of how we operate. And these were drawn up in some of our previous meetings, and we've reaffirmed them. If we need to revisit them, we can do that as well. But they're pretty straightforward. The first is lean expression. If you're going to say something, say enough, and then be done. Be mindful of other people's time. Number two, respect who's sharing. Listen deeply. No cross talking. We can do a there's a discussion. The other thing is respect the meeting's time constraints, and that's something that we are committed to as well. This is a 6:30 to 8 o'clock meeting. People take time out of their evenings to come here, and we appreciate that. We want to be respectful. We want to be done at 8. If you want to stay a few minutes after and discuss, that's fine, but we don't want you to feel obligated to stay beyond the hour and a half that we've asked be set aside for the meeting. And then the next is trust and be accountable to these community agreements. The process has worked well for us, and we want to keep using it. But we also, like I said, we can revisit it if we need to add something, if it's not sufficient, if we're finding that it's not serving our purposes, we can always revisit it, and we welcome that feedback. And then the last point is step up, step back. Challenge yourself to do whichever feels uncomfortable. If you're somebody who likes to talk, practice talking less. And if you're somebody who is self-conscious about talking, push yourself to share a little more. We'd love to hear from you. We want to make sure that all voices are heard. On that note, I just want to do a very brief, I don't want to call it an icebreaker. These meetings, they can move very quickly because we have a lot to cover. And before we get started, I think it's important that we understand this is a social and a community event as well. So I don't want it to be too regimented. I don't want it to be too fast-paced. The other thing, and I say this, we are living in strange times. And I say this as somebody who's been working with federal contracting for a decade and a half. People don't realize how much local infrastructure receives funds that trickle down from the federal government. We're in a situation now where the federal government is very hostile towards excess funding, towards anything that they don't see value in. The consequence of that is that we will see increasingly struggles to fund a variety of programs that have very real effects on the people in this city, the people in this neighborhood, people in our individual blocks. We're seeing it all sorts of ways. And so I want to do this little activity, very simple. Things will get difficult. I hate to say it, I don't want to be a doomsayer, but understanding the way in which programs are going to start struggling for funds, programs that people rely on are going to be struggling, and I think we are going to be very dependent on each other. So what I want to do, this is not a group activity actually, I want you to just find one person that you don't know, and go introduce yourself, say, I'm so-and-so, I live on such and such block, here's something I'm good at, here's something I love. And that's it. You don't have to share back to the group. I just want us to take a moment and just meet somebody else in the group that you don't know, because we are going to make it through this. We're going to make it through, and we're going to thrive, and it's only going to be because of each other. So on that note, meet somebody you haven't met before.
Might be a little loud in here for a bit, obviously. Hi, Rob. Hopefully you're talking about dumpster days. I'll mention it because I got it for you. Kiana says hi.
Cover these meetings is just announcements because there's always stuff going on, and I love it. I want there to always be something to look forward to in the neighborhood. Our big event, one of the things we do 4 times a year, is Dumpster Day, which I think many of us are eternally grateful for. The city lets us get a Department of Public Works roll-off dumpster in our neighborhood 4 times a year. We usually do Saturdays from 8 to 12. Our first dumpster day will be in just a couple weeks, March 8th. So usually we do some alley cleaning at the same time because we have the dumpster. So just be mindful. You'll get announcements. We'll make sure it's on the next flyer. And we are also always welcoming people to help with manning the dumpster. We usually have like 1 or 2 people there for periodic, an hour here, 2 hours there. And it's fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to see the kind of trash people throw out if you're nosy. But yeah, so March 8th, it's going to be on Ilchester and Barclay. We try to make sure that we get the different corners of the neighborhood. This one's going to be Ilchester and Barclay. The next one's probably going to be over in Harwood East in your neighborhood on the other side of Greenmount, and then we'll bring it back to the west side of Greenmount after that. But the first date, March 8th. We have a lot of greening updates, lots of beautification and development. I'm going to toss to our esteemed secretary, Adam, who is doing double or even triple duty sometimes.
Thanks. So yeah, on Harwood park updates, some of you may know from past meetings, we've been talking to Department of Recs and Parks about fixing up the park on 27th Street. So there's a lot of broken glass, there is a divot in the cement, there's mulch that's ruined. So we had met with them several weeks ago, and they started talking to us about how we could get on their capital projects list and actually make some updates to the playground equipment and the playground overall. Our follow-up step from that was that we met with the Neighborhood Design Center. And so we've engaged them to start coming up with design. So we'll be signing a memorandum of understanding about the role that they'll play in helping us come up with that design. What they help a lot with is creating a design that then we can bring to everybody in the neighborhood. And so we'll be doing outreach in the neighborhood to make sure that the design that's developed actually lines up with what people want to see in that park. And so we'll be doing outreach. So there'll be more to come from that, but just to let this group know that we're engaging with the Neighborhood Design Center currently to start some of that with. So if you have any strong opinions on or any thoughts about that park, feel free to reach out to me or info@Harwood or anybody else from the board. Actually, maybe anybody who's on the board, if you want to raise your hand right now, anybody with their hand raised, if you want to reach out to them about if you're interested in getting involved in the park. The next piece is that on March the 8th, the same as the dumpster day, we're going to have a volunteer tree planting event that GRIA is organizing. That'll be on Guilford Avenue, the 3000 block, and we'll send out a notice in the group chat and an email list. There will be a sign up, and they're asking people to RSVP so that they can have enough trees at the event and enough wells to plant them. So that'll be a joint effort with Harwood, Charles Village, GRIA, and Johns Hopkins to do some planting around Guilford. The planting on Greenmount and Barclay should be wrapping up this month. They paused for the winter while the ground was frozen, but they're going to continue those plantings and sidewalk cuttings in the coming month, and they should be able to finish up some of that work. So we should have a lot more new trees on Barclay and Greenmount. Can I throw to Representative Ramos? Yes. I'm not sure how much time we have.
Oh, sure. Hey everybody, how's it going? Great. Sorry to be a little late. I'm sure you are already welcome to the Village Learning Place. This is a very special place in my heart. I am one of the founders. After the St. Paul Street Library was closed in 1997, yes, I am that old. The neighbors got together and said we still need a library in the community, and so did a lot of organizing and convinced the city to provide us with this building, and we did raise a lot of money to renovate this gorgeous place. And I'm just so proud that many years later, there's so many great people that can utilize the space, and children that are able to use the library. And it's really an honor to have been a part of this place. So I'm glad you're here. We don't have beer, sorry. Like everybody nights. I don't have very much else to update. You have BGE here, who I'm sure will give the most important updates in terms of the reimbursements, but also the why everything is so high, costs so high now, right? So the one bit of news is that I was appointed to a new board that has been established to oversee water billing. So we'll be looking at affordability. We'll be looking at why the billing is so crazy sometimes. There's some other things too. So I'm happy to be appointed on that board, and we'll be meeting fairly soon to kind of get to work, and I'll be working to try to get to be elected chair so we can actually maneuver the agenda. And then we're still working on dates for the springtime for a DOT walkthrough in the area, particularly around 28th and 29th Street. And I was unable to be at the playground meeting, but I do know that I do have the playground as one of my asks this year in the budget for a lot of improvements based on the feedback that we're getting. So that will be a budget ask that I'll be putting in for the district for this coming fiscal year. So I'll be here for a little while longer. The second Mondays I have less meetings, so when you move back to the first Mondays I can stay longer. But I'm grateful to have the opportunity to represent you, and I'm here for any questions.
Before we move on, I do want to give the opportunity, because I don't know if we'll have time towards the end. Any questions for Councilwoman Ramos? You got a lot last night, so.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm here. I'm here whenever.
Yeah, sorry, there's one thing that I also missed on trees. We are going to work with RIA to apply for a similar grant this coming year for additional trees in the neighborhood. So we've identified blocks along 27th, 28th, 29th, and Matthews Street. And we've sent that on to them for them to start to craft their proposal. They're going to try and put that grant in, I think it's in the next month or so. So we're working with them. Able's trying to work with them. Barclay's trying to work with them too. So we're trying to green the whole central Baltimore area. But yeah.
On the topic of greening, another item, those of you who know about the garden, we have the Harwood Community Garden on Greenmount and Whitridge. It is loosely affiliated with the Harwood Community Association. It is founded by members of the Community Association. It is February right now, but we will be getting our starts for the garden in just a couple months from the Maryland Farm Alliance, and we will be doing some early planting before that even. We'll be doing a planning meeting on the 16th, which is next Sunday. If you are interested and you are not on our WhatsApp channel, let me know. I can add you, or I can get your information to make sure that you can get that information through another channel if you don't use WhatsApp. But the community garden will be up and running soon. As soon as it stops freezing, we're going to start putting stuff in the ground. We're very excited. We have a lot of interest from a lot of different people, and we're gonna run with it, because when we've got energy, we take advantage of it. So let me know if you have questions. If you want to be a participant in the garden, you're more than welcome to. We have other things coming up as well, and always ways for people to volunteer.
Isaac, is the meeting at the garden?
It's actually probably, we were going to, but it's going to be rainy and it's going to be in the low 40s. So we're probably just going to meet at Peabody Heights to do a planning.
What time on the 16th?
1 p.m.
Okay.
on the 16th
At Peabody Heights. Okay.
at Peabody Heights. Yeah. Just to get a sense of what people want to do. We have watering volunteers. We have people that come just to pick up trash sometimes. And everybody loves to put stuff in the ground. So lots of planting days ahead. We'll be doing a lot. We're going to be ambitious this year. Also on the topic of greening, Beth, you want to say a couple quick words about the Charles Village Garden Walk?
I would love to do that. Hi, everybody, I'm Beth Tone. As Councilwoman Ramos was alluding to, I'm also the board chair for the Village Learning Place. So I did not welcome you all to the Village Learning Place.
really?
But let me officially do that. I was just being incognito over here. So yeah, welcome to our lovely space. And I was happy to just, since I wanted to have a few minutes on your agenda tonight, I told the staff I'd be happy to lock up. So I'm here for the duration. I'm also on the CDCA board, so I'm taking notes because I love to get a sense of how all of our different community organizations, sort of what flavors you are, and personalities, and how you do business. So it's kind of fun for me to see that too. All right, so for the actual reason I'm here tonight, I'm co-chair of the Charles Village Garden Walk, which has taken place in the community for over 40 years. For 27 of those years, we were affiliated with the Charles Village Festival. And when that ended a couple of years ago, we continued on as an independent activity in the community. So last year, traditionally we've highlighted gardens north of 29th Street, and then the next year we'll do gardens south of 29th Street. This is a year that's south of 29th Street. And Harwood is kind of within the boundaries of where the Garden Walk likes to send people. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Garden Walk is a self-guided tour. People buy tickets. They come from all over the city. They come from the counties. They buy tickets. We give them a brochure like this, and it has addresses of all of the private gardens and front stoops and public spaces in our tour area that are on the walk that year. Everybody provides a little description of their space, and then we give people, it includes a map along with it. There's my map. We make a suggested route for them to follow to get to all of the different gardens. and they pick and choose whatever they want, so we try to make it so that it also takes them down nice front streets and see the interesting points of interest in the area. So what I'm here tonight to do is to invite any of you who might be interested to participate in the garden walk, to put your garden on it. And we are interested in not just like beautiful, perfect little gems of gardens, but we're also interested in folks who are just starting out gardening or doing container gardening on their front stoop, or who are growing vegetables and doing kind of edible landscaping, or who just have kind of created a nice outdoor living area for themselves. How are you outdoors in Charles Village? And we like to showcase that because people come, all different kinds of people come on the garden walk, and some people come and do want to see those classic beautiful gardens that have been around for 50 plus years. Other people are like, I'm new to the city, I have this space, I don't know what to do with it. Let me go see what other people are doing. And so they love to kind of see all the stages and styles of how people live outside here and do things. So I'm going to pass around just one little sheet that just kind of gives a couple of details of sort of what you need to do if you're interested. We have a website, we have an email. If you know for sure you might be interested, just scan the QR code. That'll take you straight to just the little Google form, and that gives you the option to say, yes, I want to sign up, I want more info, whatever, and we'll be happy to get back to you. The garden walk is June 8th, Sunday, June 8th, from noon to 4 p.m. And so you would open your door, your garden gate will give you a banner to hang outside, and people will come around and visit you, and then you close up again at 4 o'clock and you're all done. So that's how that works, and we handle everything else. VLP is hosting it this year, so the garden's in the back, and so people will come here, buy their tickets, and then go on the walk from here. The money, it's all volunteer run. The money that we raise supports the VLP garden, it supports the 26th Street Green, and it supports the 29th Street Community Center garden space. So all of the proceeds cover that. We have a little bit of money that is granted to us that sort of covers our operating costs, and pretty much all of the ticket sales get shared out equally between the 3 organizations. So thank you. Any questions right off that I can answer? Otherwise, feel free to email me, and I'm happy to chat with you. Thank you.
Absolutely recommend that one.
Yeah, you've been on it.
A few times now.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, if you don't want to put your garden on it, just come on the garden walk. And I'm excited that you guys are doing a lot with the community garden, because we would love to showcase the community garden as well. Yeah.
We're going to try to get the community garden on that.
Yeah.
Lovely. Also, on the topic of green, Natasha?
Brandy.
I'm sorry,
But I'll
Natasha's
put some time.
not here, Brandy.
It's okay.
Anyway, Brandy's here from Be More Beautiful. More green. We want this to be the most beautiful city in the East Coast.
Making everybody jealous, so I don't want to get in my back, but. Good evening. Thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity. So I am Brandy Welsh. I am one of the program managers for our Be More Beautiful program. We are housed within the city's environmental control board. So let's talk about that first, right? Then we'll jump to the good part. So the environmental control board, we are an administrative hearing board. We hear the citations that you want to contest. So stuff like high grass and weeds. You left your trash can lid open, and you're involved in tax sale and those kind of things. So we hear those kind of citations. And so speaking of tax sale, I'll just go ahead and throw it out. The letter should have come out by now.
It has.
So if you have a letter, so I'll bring it up to say, these are final bill notices and things like that, that if issues that you need to address, let's not ignore those. Let's go ahead and call folks, let's get some clarity, let's find out our next steps, because we don't want that process to just carry on. So the Environmental Control Board plays a big part in that. But I always talk about that, let's just get the hard stuff out the way, then we jump to the fun stuff. So that is kind of what we do on the ECB side. I brought a whole bunch of paper, but I don't want to scare you away with this, I'll slide it on the table later. But I have a brochure that talks about the Environmental Control Board, phone numbers and things like that, if you want to speak with us about any issues that you may be having as it relates to any environmental citations you have received. While I'm there, I'll just go ahead and do a shameless plug, because there's no need to talk about beautification if we can't mention cleaning up, right? And so I hail from DPW. I spent almost 9 years as a liaison, so I put on my little hat a little bit. So we have at the ECB under Be More Beautiful our clean kits. So our clean kits contain trash grabber, gloves, reusable vests. That's my cool little bag, not reusable vests, reusable bags, safety vests, gloves, all of that good stuff. And we will give that out to you free of charge as long as we have it in stock. You don't have to partner with us to get those things. I hear a whole lot of plans going on and all of that good stuff. So if you think you need those items from me, let me know so I can see what's in our storage and what we have for you. But we give those out because we want to take away all the excuses of why you can't get clean. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So if you need those things, or if you want to leave on your name for steps and stoop and things like that, they'll just think it came from Be More Beautiful, not you. So we are happy to provide those for you. And so that helps us get you started with, okay, now that we've got it cleaned up, now let's talk about beautification. So Be More Beautiful, we offer grants for beautification. So let me break those down. Our first grant that we offer is called Love Your Block. So that's for my weekend warriors, those that want to do a quick project, want to see a quick turnaround. You can get up to $1,500 for that grant. And some of the projects we've supported have been string lights, you know, Baltimore's territorial, so everybody's like community sign, upgrades, installations. We've seen folks do the flower pits. And I met Mary. She made me very comfortable doing our meet and greet. So I was sharing with her about some of those grants, and I was letting her know that in order to get our grants, we do want you to be a 501c3. We know that everybody does not have that designation, so we will allow you to work with a fiscal sponsor, whether that's your faith-based organization, whether that's your community association. If they have fees, you work that out with them. Be More Beautiful, we aren't involved in that. But as long as they're willing to receive your grants, and they are in good standing with the state, because we will check, then you can work with us. So other grants that we may have is, let's see, we have a youth engagement grant called Say Yes. So our Say Yes grant will allow community-based organizations to work with the youth in their neighborhood. So we don't tell you how to run Say Yes. We're just gonna give you the funding for the students, for the youth in your neighborhood, whether from 14 to 19, you figure out the task. And we did it that way because we know every community is different, right? Not everybody needs cleaning. Some might need, hey, we need kids to help out because we do a weekend pantry every other week. And then maybe there is some like cleaning or other tasks that you might want the youth to do. We provide the funding so that you can do that, because our goal is to get them involved in this stuff right here. Let's get them more engaged and things like that. So that's Say Yes. So Love Your Block usually opens in June. Say Yes, we will kick off in April. We try to run it 3 times a year. We'll do a spring session, we'll do a summer session, and then we'll do a fall session. So it depends, it's up to 3. We'll see how fun it goes. Also, our Mac Daddy program is our Care Lot. So that is what we are in now. Currently, Care Lot is open, the application is open on our website. Right now, it closes at the end of the month. So Care Lot is for, again, community-based organizations that want to mow and maintain vacant lots. Let me break down what I mean by lot. I should call it a parcel, but we always say lot. So a lot for us would be where once there was a house or building, right? But no alley, no wooded areas, those things like that. Once where there was maybe a row house and it's down. And you could care for up to 25. So if it's just 2 in your neighborhood and you want to just do those 2, fine. If you brave and you want to take up to 25, we'll see if you got the capacity to do it. Because we support you, we want you to be successful, so I won't leave you out there by yourself. I'm gonna say, you sure you got a team? You gonna do that? Okay, good, we're with you. So that application is open, take a look at it. We do support gardens and things like that. So Carolite, you can get up to $6,325 for up to 25 lots. Of course, if you do lower lots, it's a little bit less than that. There's also a coordinator fee attached to it because we understand there's some administrative work, right? We will be requiring some pictures from you, fill out some invoices, things like that. But Carolite is a good program. If you're interested in taking care of a space that is privately owned, we will allow it. The only thing you can do on those is just cut the grass. Don't put no flowers, no benches, none of that good stuff, because if they ever change their mind and want their property back, we don't want you to have wasted time or money putting things on there. For private property, we will also take you through a self-abatement process. It means you gotta reach out to the owner, give them 30 days to respond. I've been with the Be More Beautiful for 3 years. I only had one person to respond, and they still allowed us to do it. We will help you with that. I'm giving you a lot of information, but there's 3 of us. So my partners in crime are Natasha Neal and Morgan Whittlesberger. I tease this out, answer to Natasha, because we share an inbox. So you might ask her a question and then I answer it. So we kind of go back and forth like that. So no worries. But it's 3 of us and we can kind of help you. In addition to all of those grants that I talked about, Morgan has created this wonderful brochure. It talks all about the Be More Beautiful program. So we also do greening workshops. We have an active YouTube channel. We have active Facebook where we post all the workshops that we come in. I have tons of brochure of what we've got in the hopper. I hear that you guys are doing quite a bit. If you need volunteers, let us know. We have a huge volunteer network with people partnering with us from students at schools, colleges, all kinds of things, looking for work. So we are happy to put you in touch with those folks. We also have our Eventbrite for any events that we have going on that you can kind of take a picture of for that. Let's see, volunteer match, everything you need to know is right here. So I'll lay everything on the table. I also brought some knickknacks. I thought about bringing the clean kits, but I thought better. Isaac said it was about 30 of you guys, and I was not they want to drag all of that out. So let me know, maybe next time I'll bring you guys some gloves or something like that. But I did bring some of our stickers. Again, we are always big promoters for DPW, talking about recycling, cleaning up. And then something cool that we've been giving out last year are these stakes. These are flowers. The flowers are contained in here. Don't ask me if I did it because I wasn't successful. But I bought them for you guys because I want to come back and see if you were able to do it. So if you soak it and you don't have the whole thing can be planted and it should grow wildflowers. So let me know how you do. So what does anybody have any questions about anything that I've said? Let me sit down before you do. I'm Brandy Welsh. For those that are writing, I will leave my contact information. It's Brandy, BRANDI, .Welsh, WELSH, at baltimorecity.gov. Cell phone number is 443-642-0103. So if there's anything you want to discuss in private or that you need us, you can always reach out. You may see on some of the brochures that I left, it may have our Be More Beautiful contact. Oversee that as well. So Be More Beautiful at baltimorecity.gov. You can use that as well. You might see Caroline. We've got 3 inboxes. We just go back and forth. Don't worry, you can reach out to any of those. But thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here. It's exciting to hear about all of the great work that you did. I told Mary, I said, I was never y'all liaison. So when they said there was a meeting coming up, I was like, I'm going. They usually send me on the west side, but I'm happy to be here and learn a little bit about what you guys are doing.
Can you repeat your phone number and email address? Sorry.
Sure, it's Brandy, BRANDI, .Welsh, WELSH, at baltimorecity.gov, 443-642-0103. I'm in transitions for phone. Don't try tonight because then they'll say we didn't pay our bill, but that's not true. They're just giving me an update tomorrow. So start tomorrow.
I have a quick question. I worked with a Care-a-Lot grant about 6 years ago, and it was really successful. We mowed a lot of lots, and I was the admin for it, so I remember that admin fee, which was great. And it paid for equipment. And what other things does that grant usually pay for? Because I think we tried to pay the community member to actually mow the lawn.
We leave it really flexible, and since you mentioned equipment, we do have an equipment grant. It's not guaranteed, but it's a small budget where we try to help folks out. So hopefully you guys were able to get that. But we leave Care-a-Lot funds flexible for you. We don't want to say what you guys can do with it. We just want to see that you did the work. So if you invoice
the grass was cut, or if it's public.
Right, but if you need help, because we have a lot of folks that are out there that are saying, yeah, I'll manage it, but I'm sorry, I'm not cutting it.
Right.
So I may have to call a neighbor to cut it, and then you can pay the neighbor. That's between you guys, that's fine. Carolina funds are flexible.
But, okay, but if you want the equipment, that's a separate grant too. Like if you're like, I don't have my lawnmower, you know.
Yeah, you'll see it on the application, right? You'll see a section that says equipment grant. It will come out separate because it's what we do first. So Caroline, you would invoice us, as you remember, it's as you do the work. It's not the upfront grant, and thank you. You need to come with me to meet so you can remind me. So the other grants are upfront funds, where we give it, but Caroline is the only one that's not like that. We pay you as services are done. Does that make sense? Right, so, but the equipment portion of Caroline will be upfront, because I get you mower. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, we will also double check with DHCD too, if you're interested in space, just to ensure that no one else is caring for that space. We've been in some trouble before, and we don't want to be out in the streets fighting back and forth over grass. We're gonna check early, and we'll see if it's available for community use. But yeah, if you're interested in stuff, let us know. We're running by them, and if it's open, then we can kind of get going. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Brent.
Just real quick, I did fail to say something, but I'm really glad you said it. You all have not been with me during this process, so I forgot to do this. Some of you may have received in the mail what's called a final bill and legal notice. And that is basically saying you owe taxes to the city, or citations, or, water, okay? And, so if you don't pay by a certain time, the lien goes up for sale, an investor will buy it, then come back to you and say, hey, I need the lien, I need 12% interest, 18% in the rest of the state, and all the lawyer fees. And if you don't pay, then they can foreclose on your home. It's a horrible, horrible, terrible, predatory way that Baltimore City collects taxes. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I have a whole process for my district that I work with residents on this. You don't have to talk about it today, but you'll get a letter from me. We will knock on your door. We will try to work with you on getting those taxes paid or getting you registered for the homeowner's property tax credit, which is a great credit because the state pays it and you don't have to pay your taxes if you qualify. And so we want to have more people apply, go for that. So you'll hear from me individually because I get the list of who's on that list, and then we'll work with you on that so that the tax sale doesn't affect you all. And I can talk to the board more about how I do this. Because it's a lengthy process for the entire district, but it's one that's really important because we don't want anybody losing their house. So, sorry I didn't mention that earlier.
Is Leah with you? Okay. Your presentation, Ray, is the perfect segue to the next item that we wanted to cover. Christian, I don't know if you want to talk about this, the 501c3 process. We are, as prelude, about to embark on the process of becoming a 501c3.
Hi, my name is Christian D'Ambrito. I am the treasurer for the Harwood Community Association, and I live on the Church block of 27th Street. Like Isaac said, we are right now in the process of actually finally becoming an official 501c3. A bit of quick background, we have in the past mainly used fiscal sponsors. Most recently, we were being sponsored by the Waverly Improvement Association. They weren't very interested in kind of carrying that forward, and also we want to be our own entity so that we can apply for our own funding and kind of make our own decisions and don't ask people to give us $50 for our own money for our rakes and gloves for our cleanups. That was a process because of a kind of few dropped balls between changing administrations at the Harwood Community Association and also Waverly kind of not, the Waverly Improvement Association not wanting to continue the nature of the relationship and things, and some misunderstandings. We didn't, we were not in good standing with the state. We mainly meant that we didn't kind of pay, not pay, but file our taxes. We have been kind of reconstructing this because as kind of a relatively new team, we've had to go back through time and figure out where we've been and what's going on. We have now figured most of it out. We've now filed for all of the years, I think, and of course because of the pandemic as well. So I think it was like 2022 up to 2024, we had not filed. We are not now filed, and the next step is filing what they call articles for revival, which basically signals to the state that we are ready to kind of reinstate ourselves as a organization in good standing, which once we do that will allow us to actually apply to become a 501c3 and recognized and independent 501c3 in say Maryland and Baltimore.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's been a long process. I am hearing the voice of this. I am a brand new treasurer. Unfortunately, the person that's carried this process is not here today, Savannah. If you ever see her, really, that's who's that. You should put a few hats on, because it's been a long process and just put in a lot of work to do this. You know, of course, remember the reminder that everybody, we're all volunteers. She also has a job and 3 other things. She has 3 other organizations that she helps run. But yes, good things. As of tonight, I will be signing these and we'll be sending these over. And once that is reviewed, we are ready to become a 501c3. Is there anything that I'm forgetting?
Yeah, so the Harwood Community Association has a set of bylaws that we try to follow, sometimes more successfully than others. But revision to the bylaws and becoming a 501c3 would entail revision to our bylaws, requires 1 month notice. So next month at our meeting, which will be March 10th over at Peabody Heights, we will be holding an official member vote on whether or not we have everybody's approval to become a 501c3. We can't just say, hey, we're going to become a 501c3. It has to be cleared with the members. That means members are people who have been to at least 2 meetings in the past year, have paid their dues, and they're residents of the community. And so those of you who are interested, you know, if this is your first meeting, next meeting can be your second meeting, and you can pay your dues and you can vote. But this is our sort of formal announcement to the Community Association. In 1 month, we will be holding a vote on this process before we can actually submit the paperwork. We will hold off on submitting the paperwork until we've had that vote. Go ahead.
Do you have to be a homeowner?
No. Resident.
I was going to clarify that. Resident means you live within the confines of Harwood. Doesn't matter if it's on a couch. Doesn't matter if it's at your mom's house. Doesn't matter if you own 3 homes. Everybody gets 1 vote. As long as you are a resident and you've been living more than a couple days in Harwood, and you've been to 2 meetings, and you've paid your dues, which are $10 per household, not person. So if you have 3 roommates and your household has paid the $10, somebody's paid $10. First of all, make sure that you give your $3 to your roommate, and you are also allowed to vote. And I guess kind of a bit of a plug that dues are indeed due. Ms. Goldrick, to your answer. All the last dues we collected were last year. And so if you are interested in paying your dues today, please see me after. And I will make that happen. As far as for the sake of transparency, because we're not a 501c3 currently, we don't have the ability to have a bank account, which is the largest issue that we have. And so your dues will be going to Isaac by way of his, what's, Cash App or
Venmo,
Venmo or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We maintain as much of an open channel as we can internally. It's less than ideal. We don't like it, but thankfully, you know, Christian is very good about tracking things, and we sit down and go over, these are my PayPal payments, these are none of your business, these are the right. But yeah, it's
Got a big number there.
it's work, but it should not continue, and that's one of the reasons we want to do this. And actually, on that note, I do want to open it up if anybody has questions about why. And you know, some of the ones that Christian has already mentioned, but if anyone has additional questions about why we want to become a 501c3, you know, we're happy to field them now. We're happy to field one-on-one conversations later, and we'll have some discussion next month as well before we hold the vote.
Take out Brandy's book and sit down and read it. But please do come see me if you have anything, and if you want to, if you have any questions about this or want to get into that.
Quick question. Is there what a checking thing?
So I am actually currently building that. We are also working on overhauling our website, and we do want to add a method for you to check whether or not you have paid. Right now, the main way, again, because of the nature of who we are, we really just have a series of Excel sheets. Unfortunately, the past treasurers weren't keeping necessary. That's not true. It has happened. In the last year or so, there isn't an exhaustive list of everybody. It's been a very kind of, it's been more loosey-goosey, and we are formalizing everything so that that no longer happens. We couldn't only go forward, we could only do what we had. I am currently working on creating a sort of database where you can check your stats, so to speak. So coming soon, and it'll be hopefully on the website as well soon.
We are having a great time. This is good. There is a last minute item. Some folks from Able reached out to me earlier today. As some of you know, we have this ongoing issue with Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins University has established a memorandum of understanding with the Baltimore City Police. They have they are in the process of essentially establishing their own police force, not a security force, which they already have, but an actual police force. This is an area of conflict with this community and many of the other communities that border the various Hopkins properties. And this community association in particular, along with several others, have been somewhat resistant to this idea because of the way in which they've gone about this, and because of certain aspects of how they've resisted efforts towards accountability, and been very resistant towards inclusion of community concerns. I'm not going to get too deeply into it, but what we are asking at this point is that the City Council hold a public hearing on this topic. This is not a matter of like bylaws, so we don't have to give advance notice, but we have held votes in the past to get community support within Harwood for opposing the Johns Hopkins Police Department in the form it is in now, and in the form they want it to be. But tonight, we have been asked by the others who we're working with, and I just want to make sure that I articulate this as accurately as possible. The neighborhood associations are asking to vote to officially call for a public city council hearing on Johns Hopkins University Police Department. Other community associations have done this, and this is something we can just do with a vote of hands. But this is something that the board supports. We would like to make sure that there is this layer of accountability, which is one of the biggest issues we've had We want to make sure that whatever happens with Johns Hopkins and this police force that they're trying to establish, it has to be accountable if it even needs to exist. We debate whether it needs to exist at all, but regardless, we feel there needs to be a greater level of accountability, and so our request to you is we'd like to hold a vote on whether we as a neighborhood association would like to see a public council hearing on this topic. I'm not going to just call for hands yet. I'm going to ask other questions about this. Does anybody not know about the Johns Hopkins Police Department issue, first of all? Okay. Johns Hopkins, basically, it's a fully functional police department, able to do arrests, able to pursue criminals, able to carry AR-15s in their car. I mean, it is full board, a police force equivalent and comparable to any other police force in any American city. They feel the need for this. The professors don't think it's necessary, the students don't think it's necessary, the people in the community don't think it's necessary, but Hopkins is no lie the largest employer in the state of Maryland, and they don't necessarily feel like they have to do what other people ask them to do. And there have been many hearings where people have put requests forward, have raised issues, and they have repeatedly said, okay, thank you, and then done nothing, which reflects a larger pattern of behavior on their part that speaks to a lack of accountability. We've had issues with Johns Hopkins police, Johns Hopkins security guards coming into conflict with residents of the neighborhoods nearby their schools already, to put armed police officers that are accountable not to the city, not to Annapolis, but to Johns Hopkins is a major concern. This is one of the reasons why we've made an issue of this. I'm sure moving past this very quickly, and I'm happy to share information, some of the longer conversations we've had about this. But the call for a city council hearing would push this more into the public view and would require Johns Hopkins to answer more questions that they've been very good at avoiding answering. Again, I know I'm biased. I have no denying that I'm heavily biased. Do you have a question?
Yes, I'm curious to know if there are precedents in other eras in Baltimore or other cities where private universities have done these kinds of things and how those have gone, if we know of them.
Yes, there are other universities that do have their own police forces. The other thing about this that is important to remember is Baltimore City Police Department has only very recently come under the authority of the City Council. Up until just this past year, they were accountable only to Annapolis. And through a series of efforts, I don't know if you want to say anything about what went into that, but we have essentially regained, or maybe not even regained, maybe this is the first time since the Civil War that we've had authority over our own police force at a city level. And so that's another factor, is this, the police department essentially issued a memorandum of agreement, a contract with Hopkins that said we will recognize your police.
Prior to it coming within Baltimore? Like that MOU came
That MOU,
when they were...
they rushed it through because they knew they were losing their Annapolis control. And so that's being contested, but even that aside, and I'll let you, if there's anything you want to say, you know the details much better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. To your question about other universities, there are, Morgan State University, University of Maryland does have that, but they are public institutions, accountable to the public. Whereas Johns Hopkins University is a private institution, not accountable to the people. And in the state legislation, because at the time, any police matters had to be passed by the General Assembly, they had to go to the General Assembly for permission. Many of our colleagues across the state don't think that Baltimore is a very safe place, so they just decided to go ahead and let Hopkins do its thing. And it's limited to 100 officers. So 100 officers, not 100 shifts, okay? So they have across their just 4 other campuses. So Peabody, Homewood, Eastern Campus, sorry, just the three, Eastern Campus, Homewood, and Peabody in Mount Vernon. And so they have not armed themselves yet. They are not official yet. They have to go through a lot of steps in terms of getting the training up and running. And one thing that, you know, just bugs the heck out of me around Hopkins, and I have a lot of bias here, excuse me, is that, you know, Baltimore City just went through, or is still in a consent decree for our police department. And we have, right now, the best training in the entire nation relative to police accountability and constitutional policing. But they had, Johns Hopkins had the nerve to say that they could do better. Right? Then they published their plans, and they were crap. And so I don't have a lot of trust about this situation. There's been a lot of just internal political stuff that we're dealing with in the council, but the idea here is just to be able to have oversight hearings and determine what the next step might be, especially in terms of accountability. And I had said directly to the president of Johns Hopkins, I said, I'd rather that you spend $100 million helping us transform our city to really address the root causes of crime, rather than arm people who are going to profile. This is a very diverse neighborhood, so they're going to profile people that don't look like they should be in the community and in the neighborhood and in this in the university, and that's just a fact. It's going to happen, right? And the other problem is that they can go in the neighborhood. It's one thing if it was on their campus, but if they're going to go in the neighborhood. So Calvert Street. Yep, so they're gonna go to Calvert Street right now. It's Calvert Street, 29, San Martin Drive, and University Parkway. The main issue is that this is very confusing. They're only supposed to be getting 911 calls when it's an affiliate or when it's a, like one of their buildings, which they've got several buildings, Charles Street, St. Paul Street, North Calvert Street. So there's a lot of confusion as to how that's all going to work in terms of who's going to get the 911 calls. If it's not an affiliate, are they going to help this other person? Do they know if it's an affiliate? Who knows who's an affiliate, because we're not all taking our IDs with us. You know, it's a whole big mess, really. And they're going to be armed. These are armed guards. Okay? So, yeah, I can't even make a case for the other side, I'm sorry, but.
One quick question.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, let's get straight to brass tacks. Johns Hopkins police, they get instituted, they're doing their thing, they accidentally kill someone. Who's accountable then? Like, who's the person you say,
The
you're
police commissioner and mayor, they're the ones who signed the MOU.
the Baltimore?
That's correct.
Okay.
They signed the MOU. Just like they signed the MOU for Morgan State, for University of Maryland, other private institutions that have police. I mean, some of the New England IVs and stuff have private police, so it's not completely out of the question.
So it wouldn't be Baltimore City that's responsible for?
Yeah, I mean, our law department defends the Baltimore City Police, so it was the, you know, city police. But we have a lot more leverage as the council now because we can make laws about the police.
So you're saying there's no liability on
I mean, there will be, whoever it is, and their family can sue Johns Hopkins, but ultimately it is because we signed the MOU. We, the city, signed the MOU. The mayor of the city and the commissioner is ultimately.
So will the BPD decrease police presence over there?
That is an excellent question. They are not supposed to, but 5 bucks says they will. They are not supposed to. Yep. It's similar to an issue that we had when we first created the Charles Village Benefits District. That, you know, we weren't getting sweeping, we weren't getting patrol until we had to let them know that the benefits district is additional patrol. It is not supposed to be away.
And is this always a controversial issue, like when Harvard and Yale and others have done?
I'm not familiar with how it all went down there. It was a long time ago, but, yeah, so I think it's been a very big saga here, and because of this transition between where local control lies, I think there's still confusion as to sort of what the role is. I'm no longer on the public safety committee, but I will be monitoring this particular situation.
But, so it's happening, the MOU is signed, so at this point, it's a matter of holding you accountable for what happens and how it's
Right.
worked out.
I mean, yeah, unless, you know, there's something happens, then, you know, I mean, maybe the council will take some action, which I've been thinking about, but I think.
But I mean, right now, like, in terms of awareness, it's a matter of, like, what you're asking is now that people are aware of it and sort of get involved to make sure that there's oversight, because
right.
it's happening.
Yeah, there is an accountability board that's appointed by the state, but the people that nominate the accountability board is Johns Hopkins, so it's not really accountability. So like, I know. And so, I mean, I know, it's a mess. Total mess.
It started in 2017?
They did,
All right.
yeah, the
So
first
that makes
time.
no sense.
Part
I'm
of
sorry.
Yeah.
part of this is, it's been very drawn out, and Hopkins has been sort of resistant through it to any attempts to like, well, why don't we change, like, can you do this, can you pull this up, and Hopkins has been resistant throughout, and so, you know, the process itself has been a long process. The idea is there any way that we can at least leverage influence to have them in some ways consider the desires of the community?
But is that already put together, or?
No,
It's not,
I think that's the idea behind the ask, is to make sure that we, the city council, have oversight hearings. Also, Johns Hopkins has been very timid about this issue publicly, because there's a set of activists that are extremely loud and are, you know, threatened to disrupt things. And I don't think they're not gonna hurt anybody, but I do think that there is an element where Hopkins, you know, every time they're about to have a public meeting about this, they end up going virtual because it's gonna be interrupted. And so the idea is to have the council possibly have a hearing in City Hall that can be, you know, a little bit more monitored, but also make sure that Johns Hopkins is answering the questions that we want them to ask, and it's not a meeting controlled by Hopkins.
So we've got two other questions over here, and we're rapidly running out of time for me to say their piece.
Sorry, this might have been answered. I'm sorry, so sorry I was late. What happens after like the public hearing? Like, what is the goal of the public hearing? Is that like, will there be any change to what's already been done if the public hearing goes a specific way? Or is the decision already moved and there's nothing that will be done after the public hearing?
I mean, I think that's what we're trying to figure out, is if the situation is that bad, whether we, now that the city council and the mayor have control over the police department, looking into what is our role relative, we, the council, our role relative to that memorandum of understanding that was signed between the police department and Johns Hopkins. Do we have now authority to maybe end it, to ask for more things that need to be in there? Those are all questions that we're trying to get answered right now with our law department, to figure out exactly, because this is the first time that we've had local control of the police since the Civil War. And so, by the way, just real quickly, the reason why at the time of the Civil War, after Reconstruction, there was this party called the Know Nothing Party that became part of Baltimore. They were horrible, racist, terrible people, and doing really terrible things to all of our residents in Baltimore City. I mean, I could go on, but basically the state was like, you guys don't know what you're doing. We're going to take the police department away from y'all, and then, you know, make sure that we run it properly. So now we got it back after several years. And knowing that we have our stuff together to be able to do it, and then, so now we're just trying to explore what does that actually mean, because the mayor still can hire and fire the commissioner, the city council cannot do that. That's true for any agency head. So we're still exploring what exactly all of this is going to be.
And this is not so much a question, but like just some information for those of you who are just kind of getting involved in this conversation. This MOU and this project has, I think, been rejected by, I think, all major neighborhood associations at -1, right?
So Tuscany approved it and Guilford approved it, but they're not directly impacted as
Right.
much as Charles.
Which tells you something when the only people who want this are the people in Guilford.
Yeah.
But I guess that's.
Who have their own private reasons.
Right. Who already have their own cops. Well, the other piece of information for everybody is that, at least Harwood Association, we've been operating, we have not just been taking this as kind of a bulwark thing as the board. This has been submitted as a vote, I think twice now, and the neighborhood, at least of Harwood, has overwhelmingly voted against for this plan. And so our approach to this is educated by an electoral democratic process in our community. I just kind of wanted everybody to know that this is an ongoing issue and your voice is very much wanted to be heard, whether for or against. But if you want to know, like at this part, we have Senate recently reiterated this in our community, and their answer came back again, no.
And also, just to clarify, the only thing that I'm asking for your vote on, yay or nay, is public city council hearing on the topic. That is all we're asking. We're not asking for anybody to take a position for or against. We know that not everybody agrees with this. I mean, something like 70-30, I think, was the last vote we took. We understand that's 30% of our neighborhoods. Is not a small amount of neighborhoods. That's not one person. We recognize that this is a contentious issue. We recognize not everybody's on the same page. But I think we can at least, I know I'm biased, but I think we can at least agree that accountability is fundamental in any regard. And so on that note, we're running out of time. And a couple other things. Can we do just a vote by hand? Just to say, yes, we as a community approve the idea of a public city council hearing on this topic. This is
for yes.
Yes.
I'll check and see if they need this vote now, they're writing a letter. Okay. This has been a busy month, for a lot of reasons, but, and so, Emil just reached out to me today about this.
We have 4 yeses from the chat.
4 yeses from the chat. I think it's carried. On to the next item. The next item is actually neighborhood concerns. We want to open it up. I talk a lot, I talk too much. But open it up. Does anybody have any neighborhood concerns they want to voice, issues they want to raise, anything that
I have one concern, and I actually was gonna call you about it.
Okay.
There's a light across the street on Greenmount.
Yes.
It is the most annoying thing at night, because my bedroom is right on the front, because the fish market
Yeah.
is literally
You're
like,
playing it the wrong way.
and I think the city of Baltimore wants to get rid of me.
No, I don't know why they have it facing that way, it's supposed to be facing the other way, so I'll make sure that gets.
It's the generator runs all.
It's a sound.
Yeah, well, those vacant properties across the street from here are coming down, hopefully in May now.
Oh.
But
Rough up on the sound.
they said that to me like,
It is so loud. Is it just me?
yeah.
No, it's
You get like
The reason that it's there is just because there isn't a overall light there, so there has to be, some sort of light there. But I don't know who asked for it, it just showed up one day. So.
I think maybe what's happening with the sunshine over there.
Okay.
Maybe for the light. That's after that.
Okay, well, I can either get it removed or get it removed.
Two other questions.
Does it help that your living room is right across from the generator?
Sorry,
I think for the
It's so bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, it's that way down, yeah.
All right, over there.
Yeah, just had one quick question. I know since I had moved over here to Harwood, my girlfriend and I had put in multiple 311 requests in the alley between Matthews and Bloom Street.
Yeah.
And we get this notification saying that it's being completed. And we had a similar conversation, but
And it's
we're not seeing anyone come over here and actually pick up the trash. was a time we saw some people, and we thought they were picking it up, but after they left, we just noticed a mattress stacked on top of another mattress. So I don't know if it was just like,
I mean, I don't. Yeah, let me, yes, so in those cases, when you do a 311, this is for everybody, send it directly to me, odette.ramos@baltimorecity.gov, and we can escalate it and we'll monitor it, okay? And I can go out there with you and go out with the inspectors and everybody just to be like, see, it's right. You know, sometimes we have to do it that way.
I'll augment that with that it's, the 311s being marked fulfilled have, when nothing happens, has been an increasing thing that's been going on a lot for the last 6 months. Like, it's constantly fulfilled.
Yep, so we identified the problem recently, and that is because this is so dumb, I'm sorry. But what has been happening is that 311, for some reason, automatically looks at a half mile to see if there's any other 311s that are similar in that area, and then counts it as a duplicate, which is stupid. I know, I just discovered this today, that this is what they're, so they've identified it, we're trying to remove the sort of closed doesn't mean closed thing, so that it's either transferred or, something else. And so yes, I mean, that's the case. We definitely want to, anything that you get, just send it to me. We will escalate it and make sure that it gets done properly. It's always helpful to send photos as well. But I'm happy to come out with you, do a walkthrough with the inspectors and the DPW folks. Your alley is in particularly, it's people, I think they leave, it's hidden.
It's a little tough because some people even own the lot in between the alley, and so there's that tree that overgrows. It's actually intertwined with BGE. They can't really do anything about it because the property owners own that property. We've called 311 multiple times. They said they put out a citation, but it's up to the property.
It's one of the vacant lots, right,
Yeah,
that has that tree on it? Yeah. So the city's trying to acquire all of those lots so that we can do something with them. But in the meantime, if that tree is becoming a nuisance, not just to the branches, but to your home, we can try to work through that.
Okay. Do you mind repeating the email?
Yeah, it's Odette, ODETTE.Ramos, RAMOS @baltimorecity.gov.
Sir, I think you had one.
I live on Rain, right near Barkley,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they put the new trees in, but there's old trees, the trees are already there, people are literally just piled off.
Oh,
And it's not it's probably one of the new trees, and there's no mulch in it, someone's already in there, the dog's already gone in there. And someone is there, something we do not think that, even on the rain, there's spots, people with dogs going around the trees and the mulch and stuff.
Oh, that's so gross. Okay, so, there's definitely a fine if people are not picking up their dog,
There's a lot.
Yeah. Do you have, I mean, I don't know if anybody's got camera footage or anything like that? Not of that, but like, I mean, I'll get somebody at Barkley. So it's Lorraine at Barkley? Okay, I'm really sorry that you're dealing with that, that's gross. So there's no mulch in it, so they.
Well, there's the new trees are planted, there's no mulch for those. So people that are starting to live in those, but there's already trees in there since we've been, pretty much right in that corner of the Lorraine Yard. That tree is playing a mulch around in front of you, and a couple of spots. That's a tree, there's a tree that will let your dogs go in, trees and grass. And they're not, nobody's, meadows, there's not really, a lot of them would do it good to have like one of those little, stand things for the bags, or dispensers in the bags and stuff. So I don't know if they use them.
Ever since they did the bag ban, no one has little plastic bags.
That's true.
So I like having them out.
I will say, I'm sorry, and we are gonna, I wanna make sure we got BG in here, we got a bunch of different folks, and they do. I actually, one of the things I would like to do with the Community Association is get more bags. I know that the people that don't care, but having the bag there, a lot of times, I know as a dog owner, when I first started walking my dog, like, you don't have a bag, you use it as an excuse to not clean up. And then like I started like getting so infuriated with other people, it made me clean up every single time. But I think we want to try to get more like dog bag stands out. We're definitely going to try to do that. We'll see if we can find some grant money to do that. There's a couple of places we can look.
I mean,
That's
Oh,
all.
yeah, I
want to throw it over to the evening. I wanted to give it more time, but the rate issue is huge. It affects every single person in the neighborhood. And we also have a couple other issues. So I want to throw it over to them in terms of questions, in terms of comments, in terms of availability for assistance.
So good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Kirk Mitchell. I'm with Community Engagement with BGE. I initially took the job because I thought I was going to just break my BGE. No break at all. Terribly surprised.
So your bill's nicer?
It's just as high. Just as high. And I'm terribly frustrated, just like everybody here in the meeting. I can tell you guys, quite frankly, I've been sitting in a number of different meetings and they've been about why the bill is high, right? This is happening. You're going to hear things like the infrastructure is 200 years old. It is. You're going to hear stuff about a number of different things. But for me, it wasn't about the why. As important to me was how can we help the community with the bill? That's what the meetings that I want to be in. So I got out of that one, went across the hall. I began to set in the meetings about how can BGE help community members with these bills. I can tell you, I just left the meeting earlier today. I was with Catholic Charities. And some of the stories are just heartbreaking. We hear our seniors in our communities talking about their, what's the machine that they put on? CPAP, talking about all those kinds of things, having to call them up and things not working and all of that. I mean, it was just heartbreaking to hear. So anyway, make a long story short, I put together a small team. We have been out in the community all across the service area, offering support and help for your high BGE bills, okay? I passed a number of things out to you already. I'm also going to leave with you today something we call a Purple Book. The Purple Book has all the information in it for you, your family member, friends, whoever it is that's most affected, and how they can get the help and support as well. I've also brought my team members with me, and I'm going to recommend something. The first thing you should do is have what we call a quick home energy check, right? The first thing you should do is know how much energy is leaving out of your house, right? You're standing near the door, you're looking at the window, you feel a little breeze, energy is leaving your house. BGE has a team that will come out. They have all these little fancy gadgets. They'll give you a report, they'll check all of the rooms, and then at the end of the visit, they're going to give you a report about how much energy is actually leaving your house. If energy is leaving your house, your bill's going up already, okay? So the first thing I want you to do, if you get an opportunity today, please talk with John. John, raise your hand. John is the man who handles the whole thing. He's agreed to be here tonight. He wants to make sure that anybody here who wants to get a home energy check can get that right away. That's the first thing you probably should.
That's a free service?
That is a free service. It's a free service. They also make recommendations while they're on site, and they used to do bulbs where they were changing all of that. I'm not sure they still have the bulbs. But I know they have a number of different things that they will change for you to make sure that any energy that is in your house is being saved and is staying there. The second thing we have is my colleague. She's standing up now. Raise your hand.
Hello.
Naomi.
Yes.
She is a subject matter expert on bills, how to help with those programs that are available to be able to help you, your family member, mom, dad, whomever, and get you connected with those. She also brought her computer, so if anyone has a bill they need to actually take a look at tonight, and we're going to come to the meetings very bring your bill with you. We're going to be here at the next meeting. I'm going to be, Isaac and I are in conversation probably once or twice a week. Bring your bill with you the next time you come. If you have any questions, we're going to look it up right then and there and give you some advice on what programs that we have to offer that will help you address those things. Energy assistance, anybody familiar with the term? Yes? I ain't got to listen. I got me some energy assistance when I was between jobs, let me tell you. But energy assistance is a program that will also help you pay for your energy bill. I'm also working with United Way. You guys know United Way, they're pretty big here in town. For individuals like myself, we're working, but you know, bills are high and things are happening. The cost of eggs are just ridiculous. They have a program and they have this acronym called ALICE. Anybody heard of it? Asset Limited, Income Constrained Employed, right? ALICE. It simply means that you are employed, but you're on the banana peel and you need a little bit of help and you don't qualify for some of the low to moderate income services that BGE has, but they can help you as well. So part of my job is to connect with all of the programs in and around Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and find out everything that's available and come to meetings like these and provide as much help and support as I can. That's my job. So any questions, no hard ones, because I've only been there a year. You know, I might ask a hard one. Yeah. No, go ahead, man.
No, I'm just like, and just to speak for myself, just frustrated when I look at the bills. I work in data analysis. I work in like numbers, and first of all, it's just an incredibly complicated bill with all these factors and all these things. And when you just look at the numbers, like my usage went up 22% year over year, but my bill went up 60%. So I don't understand where that comes from, right? And that simply doesn't compute. And when you have one energy provider and it is literally how you stay warm or cold or whatever it is, you have your defibrillator, whatever you need, like it's predatory, I feel like, on BGE's hat to raise the bill and not do anything about it. I'm not to say that you're not doing something about it, but it's like my blood is boiling a little bit. And maybe because I know I have an old home, 1900, maybe earlier than that, built.
Well, will you let us at least come out and do the check first?
Yeah,
Just see how much you got.
Yeah.
And just take steps to make it together. Sure. I mean, it's gonna have to walk this together, but I'm not gonna use this. Thank you for your honesty. Yes, ma'am.
So I have solar, and I have solar damage. This is the thing, last month, Delta will charge me.
Double charge.
Yes, I gave them $600 for BGE.
You definitely need to have a conversation with you. You are right. You have anything with you now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Don't leave before you talk to her. She's already handling something now.
To kind of jump on that,
Don't jump.
follow up, run to it. What is going on the BGE side, on the provider side, rates? What is going on? 60% is a huge hike. We understand, we've heard from BGE that, moderate hike and and the cost of energy and the cost of distribution has gone up and things like that. And, a lot of capital investments in distribution infrastructure, which I might add, you own. If it's 100 years old, that's your fault, not ours. It is not the city's infrastructure. And so, more so the question is, what is going on, and are there cliff notes to kind of help us understand, is oil high?
Gas
Is that what it is?
Gas is
Is it the White House? Is it
started
that
in the White
Canada
House.
is already cutting gas?
Don't get me started.
What is
My blood
what
was
is
boiling.
going on?
Frenzy.
No, here's the
But,
thing, my supply rate went up marginally, but the distribution went up.
The cost to get it to you.
The cost to get it to me, which tells me that I'm not using that much more physical quantity of gas. So my old house, but why is the concentrated rate going so up in the distribution? And that makes me think there is something happening internally at BGE that is getting passed on me as a consumer in times that nobody wants that to
The
happen,
worst time.
right?
I mean, it's real.
Could I just chime in on
Please,
that?
yeah.
I would love for you to come over to see, it's not really the rate, it's really the winter bill that we just had as far as the distribution charges, right? We had single digit temperatures, and the more usage,
the more the distribution charge is. It's not the actual rate of the distribution charge. But if you have a few seconds, I can actually compare it from December to January when the rate increased and show you the bill. And it should be minimal.
If I can follow up from that though, although, and I appreciate that, I think that's fair. Very cold winter, periods of very cold temperature. We're adults. We're also not students.
No.
In that, you know, people understand their budgets, people understand what they can afford.
Yes.
I don't think it's or rather it's a little aggravating for BGE, and I'm not saying this because you said it, it's because I've read it and I've heard that that's actually kind of the line right now. I don't think everybody's forgetting to not regulate their heat and to not blast their heat for 84 hours.
Right.
And I don't think everybody's got, you know, just forgetting that, like, well, it's colder and so it's their system's gonna keep running.
Yeah.
Sure, that is a factor. I didn't, right? I have a smart thermostat, set at 69. Whenever I feel a little chilly, I blast it between 70 and 71. It's programmed to go back down. I check it, I work from home, it goes back down. Cool. It's not nearly as much usage as it is. We're paying you all we're paying you all a lot more to do the job you've been doing and to do the job that you have a monopoly on providing, right? And
Not to mention the failures we had over the summer.
right.
So it just feels like at every turn it's like, okay, we just can't win, but you hold power and we hold none, except we rely on you for our lifeblood. Like my daughter's like, why is it colder in the house now? I'm like, well, we gotta turn it down because BGE, so she knows BGE comes right out of her mouth, she's 3 years old, right? So the publicity for you all, it's not looking good. And also we feel like stuck, who's gonna hold you accountable? You're a national energy provider based out of Chicago. So I'm just like, what are you all gonna do? Really, not just the line about cold weather or this or that, but what are you really gonna do? And maybe we don't have the answers right now. I appreciate you being here. I'm just like, I really wanna just be, I'm incredibly frustrated and hurt that this is how we're being treated because it's not right. It's unjust.
And more so, I guess, and again, I understand that, like, there might not be answers. It's just, I think internally, y'all should maybe workshop the whole, well, have you considered maybe you've accidentally used 4 times as much energy? That's condescending. It makes you seem not serious. Makes it seem like it's a PR stunt. We're very used to BGE PR stunts, at least in this neighborhood specifically. We've been here before. We were here 3 months, 4 months ago. We yelled at y'all then
About the claims and
about the claims and the rolling things and da-da-da, and now we have to itemize our pizza and our things and our cabbage to let you know that we had a cabbage for y'all to do the right thing. I'm saying, can we get some kind of sensical answer as to what is going on?
you can. You just can't get it from me.
Right.
What I would like to do is bring a subject matter expert. You can
Can I
ask
help
those
you?
things.
Can I help you?
Because I am,
Sure, of course. It's just capitalism. There's only
I
one
mean,
provider. They could do whatever the hell they want. At the end of the day,
I thought you said
there's
you were
nothing
gonna
you
help
can
me.
do. No, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help people. The thing is, this is just our PR
Sure.
is great and you could help. If you're 100% honest, I think everybody will feel more comfortable. If you come in here and be like, hey, listen, we have a mandate to make this amount of money and this is how it's gonna work. You're gonna have to pay some more so we could be happy. And I think everybody be like, oh, I get it. But everything else, because we've had this around in circles before, and you my peoples. Like we've been on the email, and it's good.
We have.
But I think you have to be 100% clear with people. We're a corporation, we're here to make money, and in order for us to make the amount of money to pay the boss and his underlings and everybody in this here, so they could be good, we have to charge you more. And we be like, I get it, because everything else is sounding suspect. It is.
I mean, to a degree, I get it, but at the same time, the difference from last winter and this winter, we know we're only going into more extreme weather. We already know that. Next summer, I am really now looking forward to my electric bill. I know it's gonna be astronomical. That's like,
So can BG cut back on their side? Because we've been cutting back.
Right.
Like, I've turned down my heat. Can they pay all their people less? Is that a possibility? Like,
It actually is happening now. BG is actually taking a big loss right now.
okay,
During COVID,
yeah,
we had stopped all of our collection process.
yeah.
Right now, we're not even collecting, we're not turning anyone off since the new year. We're not turning anyone off. We're trying to come up with payment arrangements, which payment arrangement is not lucrative for us at all as a company, right? This is affecting us as well. We live in the same territory that
Yeah.
we work in, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want you to think that we're not out here, we do realize it. I'm just gonna, I think that, I want you guys to have an open mind on how it actually works.
Yeah.
We are mandated and regulated by the Public Service Commission.
Yes.
So we can't do what we wanna do. But, and there's a multi-year plan, 3-year plan. We took a big loss on it. It hasn't been a rate increase in 3 years. I don't know if everybody's aware of that.
Are we experiencing a rate increase right now?
Now,
Yes.
sorry, that's where it
Effective
is.
January 1st.
So is it a standard rate across the whole entire system, or is like, my bill goes up a certain amount, somebody else's bill goes up a certain amount?
Standard.
Is it like, hey, everybody's gonna pay $10 extra?
Yeah, standard, and
It's standard rate, but it's based on your actual usage. The more you use, the more the distribution charge.
it's our kilowatt hour.
Right.
Yeah.
What terms, depending on. But if we, I'm here, I'm willing to take a look at if it's an individual, account that you would like to.
And each one is individual, and the whole reason we're here is so we can answer those tough questions. I'm not gonna have them all. Naomi's not gonna have them all. I'm gonna bring somebody in so you guys can ask those tough questions. I can guarantee you they won't have them all. And none of them will satisfy you. Not one. Not one answer they give you will satisfy you enough to be all right with your bill being high.
Yeah.
Period.
That's right.
So let's just understand that. Let's understand the fact that any question you ask, you're not gonna feel like, oh, okay, I'm good with my bill now that you said that.
Right.
You're not going to feel that way, which is why I came with you. I'm here with support for anybody that needs it. I'm gonna come back with people that you can pepper those questions to, but I'm here to give you some prefaces here. You will not be satisfied with any of the answers.
Like a
That's
letter,
the truth.
a letter or something to let us know, hey, by the way, this is happening, here's what's happening, we'll bring this fire. This is hard, and we have to, and we understand, this would help.
Did you say you didn't? Because she did.
Did didn't you get all of those calls?
Yes,
Those
it's
calls,
calls. The website, we're doing mobile.
She got a ton of
Several phone calls.
And the multi-plan has been in effect, it's not just.
For 2.5 years.
It's been
Yeah.
since 2022. 2022.
Yes.
Yes, so that has been
I'll check my
going
contract.
on with the rate increases gradually, but you were getting credits as well to offset the rate increases, that's why you didn't feel it. You're starting to feel it now because those offset credits are not there anymore. And demand is high, so the more the demand is high, the more the gas is gonna be high, the more it's gonna increase the bill. And that's where the distribution comes into play, that's all related to getting into your home, the infrastructure, to maintain the lines, to get it all to your home. So that's where you're getting the increase, that's where you see it the largest, I put that, versus the supply.
So I was gonna say, we're about 10 minutes over now, I know people got to go places. How long can you guys stay after at this point? You gonna stick around for
What
this?
is it, 10 after 8 or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the team's willing to stay up 8:30 or so, and we gotta be out of here.
Yeah, I know.
So she's gotta go to 8:30.
8:30, right. I just wanna say, if you guys are willing to have, sort of personal
Well, we're coming back, I'm telling you, we'll be back.
maybe we wanna stop the public
If
conversation.
we can start, let's just start with the fact that the team is here, so that anybody wants to start talking with them, they could have been doing that the whole time. So maybe we can start that. My friends, thank you so much. I'll see you guys at the next meeting. All right, thank you guys.
Take care, everybody.
I really appreciate you having us tonight.
you'll connect.
Sorry. Are we done? We're done.